game one of the finals in OKC. It's just, you don't get stuff like this. And then Tyrese Haliburton, this incredibly likable guy, and his kind of crazy dad sometimes. He was along for the ride, and then he gets hurt, and you're like, oh, you can't beat OKC with one ball handler and just TJ McConnell. But last night was a real gut punch. It was hard to stomach. And this was the 8th Achilles tear this year in the NBA, most ever, and the 3rd in the playoffs, most ever. The NBA is on notice. Shorten the playoffs. They started 2 weeks before the draft, the NFL draft. The NBA is faster. There's more spacing. There's way more movement. Players are just moving more. It's twitchier. When you can see his Achilles flop, it's gutting. An Achilles tear used to be what old guys did at 58 playing handball. It was an old guy injury. It wasn't for 20-year-olds. That tells you everything. And baseball, for the record, has made multiple tweaks in the last 3 years. The sport has greatly benefited. The NFL tweaks in season. We love the NFL. The NBA has never been a stubborn league. Move off 7-game playoff series until you get to the finals. MJ, the most popular to the league ever was, 5 games in the first round. Maybe you can do conference finals at 7. But the NBA just got a $76 billion TV deal. The billionaires are going to be okay without another home game. Everybody's going to eat.
Yeah. I'll be honest. If I wasn't making videos for a channel and whatnot, this is stuff that I would skip because I can't stomach it. I wouldn't even be watching sports shows today. Probably football stuff, no basketball stuff, because I found what happened last night absolutely gut-wrenching. And, I sit down, I'm going to go watch the game, and I was actually going to watch the game with my dad. I don't normally watch basketball games with my dad, but, he always, he's an older guy, and he's always like, there's nothing more exciting. They always say there's nothing more exciting than in game 7s or whatever. We were excited to watch it. And Haliburton's going off. What do you have, like 9 points in like 7 minutes or something? 3 threes. I think it was like 3 for 4. And, and that happens, and you're just like, it was just everything. And even though the game was like kind of competitive and Indiana was kind of like hanging on and whatnot, it was just like, didn't matter. It didn't matter. And just knowing what happened to Haliburton, and they were talking about it throughout the broadcast, obviously, and you're just like, it ruined everything. And it's really crazy, just the Achilles injuries that are happening, but just the injuries all around. And how we know, Haliburton, Jason Tatum, Steph Curry, all 3 of those guys on Team USA, all injuries this playoff run. And it's just, this has been a problem for a lot longer than people actually realize. Like, this is not actually like the canary in the coal mine. Like, this is the whole coal mine already exploding. And the reason why I know this is because, like, I'm very much in touch with high level weight training with elite athletes, Olympic athletes, the exercise science community, bodybuilding, weight training. It was what I was originally trying to kind of build a life around. And so, it's like I've either worked with or have had many conversations with people who are just, on the front lines of all of this type of stuff. And, there's this guy who trains, his name's Christopher Summer. He trains like elite U.S. gymnasts, and especially like I think from high school, like younger, entering into that era. And he's talked about this in the 2010s, like over a decade ago, talking about the insane rise of specifically Achilles injuries more than anything. And he talked about, especially when CrossFit got popular, how they were just everyone's Achilles tendons were just popping, and just kind of like, what is the problem here? And in football they blame the turf versus grass. On basketball, you have people now blaming either the change of how the game is played. Because you have people that are like, oh, you know, this didn't happen in the 80s and 90s, and other people are like, yeah, but like basketball's played differently now. It's faster, it's more explosive. You know, there's more possessions, whatever it may be. You have other people that are blaming specialization too much in terms of when you're a kid. It's like if you play basketball, all you do is play basketball now. And also, especially for basketball, it's like you have AAU. And so it's just like these guys already have so many miles on their body. And the reality is, I have not found a good enough explanation for why all this is happening. And it's something that I'm comfortable hearing other views, having other people have conversations about it, and really analyzing and breaking down what do I think is actually happening here, because it's I have a lot of experience in it, and I'm yet to really hear something that really makes me think, oh, okay, that's what's it. I think it's probably a combination of factors. I don't know if it's just one single thing. I don't think it's just because of specialization, because we also know with athletes who specialize in one sport, they're more likely to get injured than not, actually. That when you play multi-sport, and it's like this is on the back of like, for whatever reason, the Bengals have been playing a lot of other sports, and the Jamar Chase, saw him try to hit a baseball. It was like embarrassing. Joe Burrow, that clip is going around of him trying to throw a baseball, and it's just like, I can throw a baseball better than Joe Burrow. I can hit a baseball better than Jamar Chase. Like, it's like that's just the reality. It's not me bragging. Like, it's just the truth. I'm a multi-sport athlete. I played every single sport under the sun. There's not a single sport in any random new sport I could just jump in and figure it out and play. Like, that's who I am. And I realize that's not the case for everyone. Any sport I ever played, anytime you're kind of messing around, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, anytime you're doing something that's beyond that sport, you see how weird if you're playing basketball with a bunch of people and you see them try to like use their foot to kind of like bring the ball up, you're like, what are you doing? They can't do it. And it's like, well, I played soccer too my whole life, so it's like, of course I can. It's easy for me. Whatever the situation may be. And so, people are losing that now, but I don't think that's what's causing people's Achilles tendons to pop, quite frankly. I I follow on on random social media platforms. There's this one family. It's like this husband and wife, and they got like these 2 young kids. And they they play a lot of sports or whatnot. And it's pretty interesting. And it's like, this dad, he's got these 2 young girls who do a lot of athletics. And recently I saw a video that they posted where they're like, they were it's just like on the phone where he's like interviewing like his daughter, and she's like, I'm so sore. She's like, I've never been so sore in my entire life. Because she just had like a track meet or wrestling, and she's doing track meets and wrestling right now at the same time. And he's like, oh, you're so sore. She's like, yeah, oh my God, my body feels crazy. And this girl's like 13 years old. She's got braces. She's a girl. And he's like, oh, and what are we about to go do now? And she's like, well, now I have a track meet. And it's either that or it's reverse, right? Like she either just got done the track meet and now she's gonna wrestle, or the opposite. And it made me realize, like, you are wearing these kids into the ground. And I remember when I was helping with my niece with soccer, she played soccer very, competitively at a pretty young age. And a couple of the other girls in her team, I remember this one girl, like, it was one of the hottest weekends. There was a soccer tournament, and it was just sweltering. And these girls are just fried. At this point, they're like, I think like 10 years old, 10 years old. And as soon as that girl was done that soccer, she was off to go play lacrosse. And it's just like, and I lived that life too. Like that was my life as well. I remember I was on this junior Olympic team, and I've had one of the best weeks of my entire life of playing. And I just absolutely balled, amazing. I was 15 years old, I think it was. And my body was breaking down. I mean, like my legs, my calves, my heels, especially my heels, were in such agony. And it was the summer, leading into the fall. But I played baseball, very competitively. And so I was on like a random fall ball team, which really made no sense, truly. I mean, it had nothing to do with anything that was actually important. It was just like, oh, just keep playing to kind of keep yourself fresh. And I was in such agony that, I was pitcher and outfield, and I couldn't get out there. And so the solution was, oh, well, we won't make him run to the outfield. just have him go play first base. I'm in such agony that I literally can't make it to the outfield, but they're just like, here, just go play first base. And I do think that that helps contribute to some of this, but I don't think it's everything. I don't think it's everything. You know, is it the shoes? Is it the style of play? Is it the grass versus, you know, turf? Are the courts different now? I mean, I don't believe they are, but is there something different? Are the courts that people play, that these kids are playing on in high school, different? And, you know, when they're playing in high school, AAU, varsity, JV, you know, whatever it may be. Like, are there other things going on? Is it that we are just getting more explosive? Because it's so interesting. And this is what the Olympic trainer that I referred to talked about before. You know, he talks about a lot that, you know, muscles grow so much and get stronger so much faster than tendons and ligaments can. And he talks about that's why you get so many people who get injured when they're doing things like steroids, because they're getting too strong for their body and their body has not caught up. So they end up, you know, tearing something. And I just wonder if also, even just as a, you know, fitness maximizer community, you know, exercise science, that they know how to maximize performance now, and they know how to really push those limits, but they haven't really figured out, well, what can we do safely? Like, yeah, we know how to get people to run faster and lift more weight and be more explosive, but we don't know really the limits of, like, at what pace we should be doing all of this for our tendons, our ligaments, our joints, you know, et cetera, et cetera. That's what happened with baseball, Tommy John surgery and shoulder injuries. It was like, the harder these guys throw, it's like, yeah, we figured out a way how to get these. I mean, like, once upon a time, just throwing in the 90s was like a big deal. Not a big deal, but it was just like the norm. Now it's like everyone and their mother can throw like 100-mile-per-hour. It's like if someone could hit 100, it was like a big deal, right? And if it came up on you know, on the screen, or, you know, if you're at the stadium and it came up on like the, you know, wherever they're showing the radar, everybody would go nuts and cheer and this or that. And now it's just like, oh, everyone's doing it, and all these guys are also getting injured. And you know, I read an interview a while back talk about pitchers, but they were like, we know that this is gonna shorten our career or hurt us, but if you're throwing 100 miles per hour, it's like you're guaranteed to get paid. You're guaranteed to get a life-changing contract. So just get it while you can. And it's just interesting. And so it's just like, are we pushing these athletes' bodies too much to the point where, yeah, they are getting bigger, stronger, faster, but their bodies can't handle it for whatever reason, or we haven't figured out how to get their bodies to catch up to what they can do. And I don't know if it's just, hey, well, 5-game, you know, 5-game rounds. I mean, especially because the regular season is such a boring grind, and the playoffs is everything. The playoffs are amazing. I mean, think of the moments that we've had in these playoffs, and to shorten that is a bummer. But there's obviously something wrong, and they're never going to shorten the regular season. They're just not going to do that, even though I wish they would. But something like this is just, I find devastating. And I just like, I you know, it obviously happened at the beginning of the game, and I was just like, I don't want to watch this game. I really didn't. I mean, I was just like, I can't even watch it. It made me legitimately sick to my stomach. And it looked like it was going to be such an amazing and exciting Game 7 too. And, you know, OKC won, but it's just like, feels like, you know, Pacers definitely could have won as well, especially with Haliburton. And it's just a tough time, man. It's just, like I said, if I wasn't making videos and whatnot, I would literally just stay away from probably sports as a whole today. And I would be staying away from all these shows because I'm just like, I don't, you know, there's a lot of times I want to marinate in the moment. You know, I want to marinate in the moment, but it's just like, this is not a moment that I want to marinate. This is just, it was the same feeling when I saw KD tear his Achilles. And this was before Achilles injuries started to become a little bit more like, okay, you can come back, you know, your career's not over. But KD blows out his Achilles, and I just remember thinking to myself, like, is this the last time that I'm seeing, you know, his greatness? Is this the last time? And the reality is, that was his last huge game. That was his, you know, his last true meaningful game. And it's just, you know, seeing Haliburton's agony and how he was slamming the court, you're just like, it's devastating, man. And so, but those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think? Where do you think this is all coming from? Why do you think this is happening? What do you think needs to be done? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. It's whether you agree with me or disagree with me. Either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.